Welcome to this video series about improvising by Sietze de Vries. You can support this video series by donating the amount of your choice to Sietze de Vries' Patreon account, which can be found by searching Sietze de Vries Patreon or by finding the link in the description below the video. Enjoy the video.
So, two things I'd like to do today. The first thing is making a short prelude that is not based on a hymn, but more free in a way. And the second thing is to talk about the way you practice actually all these improvisation exercises, because I got quite a few questions about it. But let's start with a little prelude, and let's try a system that many composers use based on a pedal point. So just a long note in the pedal. Let's do it in F major. And on top of that you have two voices that just fantasize a little bit. And to make things easy, it's always good to use an existing melody. So let's use a little children's song, you will recognize it. And I will use only two voices with both hands. And actually what I do is I just play around a little bit with the melody. So that's basically how you make a pastorale, a shepherd's song around Christmas. That's almost always based on a long note with this particular rhythm in a 6/8 meter. Of course, we could repeat this in the dominant key. So the tonic is F major, we go to the dominant C major, we can do the same thing. And then probably, to make things interesting, we can have sequences and go back to F major and maybe do something at the end to repeat the main theme. So then we end up with something like this. And of course you can make interesting variations on it. We can also try it in a minor key. So let's do G minor. So then the dominant key would be D minor. And for fun, let's have an ending with a Neapolitan chord, which is actually one of the most beautiful chords. If you are in G minor, the Neapolitan chord is actually a semitone up. So that means it's A flat major, which is weird of course when you are in G minor. But you never play it in root position, always in first inversion. And then you get chords like this. So 1, Neapolitan, then 5, 1. And it's a beautiful cadence at the end and very powerful because you don't expect the chord. And on one hand the chord is really close, because if I just change the A flat for a G, then it's a normal 4. But on the other hand, the A flat major chord is very far away from G minor, so that's why it is so powerful. Okay, so let's try it in G minor, the same idea, the little pastorale. And of course with something like this we're in good company, because even Gustav Mahler used this melody in his first symphony. And as you can see, you can really turn a very simple melody that everyone knows, you can turn it around into something completely new and very usable. Alright, the second thing is a little talk about how to practice these things. And actually I don't have one answer for that. And that makes sense because every person is different. The main thing to remember is how your brain works. If your brain encounters something new, it will work very hard to understand it. And well, you notice when you do something new, it takes up a lot of energy. And that's actually good. It means your brain is at work. And of course, the more you do it, the more your brain goes more or less on standby. Like, okay, I can do this, you don't need me anymore, it's embodied, you can just do it. And of course, this is an interesting thing, because how do you practice improvisation? If you just repeat one thing the same over and over again, it's finally part of you, but it's also part of your muscle memory. You can do it, but it's not necessarily the case that you exactly know what you're doing. So what often helps is to do the same thing but in different keys and use different melodies. So if we do something like the Pachelbel partita we did in the other videos before this, you can use a different hymn tune and a different key to try it again. And then suddenly you notice, wait a second, I have to work very hard again. My brain is very active, this is difficult. And like I said, that's good. That means your brain is really at work. But always remember, once your brain is kind of at rest, that you know, okay, I can do this without much thinking, then you have enough space in your brain, so to speak, enough room on the hard drive to do something new. If you do it too fast and you do a lot of new things at the same time, your control will get less and less. And you know from my former videos, control is actually very important. The more you control something, the better it is. So for some people it's really good to practice the same thing over and over again to get this sense of, well, I can do this, I know how to do it. You can even write it down sometimes, that you externalize your thoughts and that you can see, okay, this is how it's done, now I really understand it. And for other people it's good to change it all the time, to do the same thing in a different key, on a different melody. And of course for some people a certain thing will take like a week, for other people it will take a month. And I'm not even talking about the point that creativity kicks in. That's different in every person. Even the amount of creativity that you have is different in every person. So it's very hard to predict what the best way is to learn how to improvise. The main thing is that you know how the brain works and that you understand that it's basically the same as a language. The more words you know, the more control you have over the grammar, and that you know exactly how to pronounce things, how to say certain words, how to combine words, well, all the things that there are to a language. The more you know about it and the more you practice it, the better you get at it. And of course the best thing that can happen is that you notice, well, I have a lot of material on my hard drive, I know how to use it, but also sometimes things happen that I didn't expect, but that are actually very nice. That's where the creativity kicks in, that you suddenly make some beautiful things, even little things like in voicing that you didn't expect, but that your brain tells you, this sounds nice, you should do this. That's always a very good sign, because in the end you want to have the balance between creativity and the craft, your knowledge. The more you can balance that and the more creativity turns it into something beautiful, then it's actually a work of art. When it's only computing, then it's not really that interesting. And of course the best example of this is my greatest example, Johann Sebastian Bach. With him there is always this wonderful balance between musical creativity and also the knowledge and the craftsmanship how to compose. So I would really die for hearing Johann Sebastian improvise, because that must have been something, I think. Well, that about studying. Like I said, it's different in every person, but just try what works the best for you. And good luck with that.